of a system will always determine the outcomes. The shape of a system will always.
Hi, everyone. This is my last kind request for those of you that will attend the Newcomers Track to take your positions. Please join us at the table. Yes, please, also you. If you could join us and take one of the chairs, because... So as you know... Yeah, please, go ahead. Hi. Sorry? Hi, everyone. So let's officially start. I know it's the last day, and I think many of the participants have already left the venue. But I would like to thank you for staying until the very end with us. This session is probably more important to us than to all of you, because it's a feedback session. We wanted to hear from you. What do you think about the Newcomers Track, and should we continue with this practice for the next year? And if so, what should we improve? So if you don't mind, I'm gonna suggest to start immediately with you giving us feedback. So please tell us your name at the beginning, your affiliation, and then some concrete proposals and your feedback on how should we improve this, and should we, in any case, continue this. Maybe from Sebastian, he's with us from the very beginning.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you. My name is Sebastian Pensis. I'm here with YourID, the .eu registry. And I'd like to start off by thanking Bianca and Anya for the tireless work they've done in organizing this newcomers session. Coming here to my first IGF was a little bit nerve-wracking, as I was wondering how I'd be navigating such a very large event. And these newcomer cafes have actually allowed me to meet stakeholders from government, private sector, civil society, which in doing so in this smaller setting actually allowed for some more interesting discussions to go on later on when I ran into them, either in other sessions or just walking down the hall. The world of internet governance is really large and complex, and having this newcomers track, for me at least, has been a very valuable tool towards helping me find my footing and gain confidence in order to interact in the larger sessions during the week. I'd love to see this continue at the future IGFs, and as an idea for next year, I'd like to maybe propose a newcomer cafe where the newcomers talk to each other. I think that giving them the opportunity to ask or answer questions and to begin their IGF participation by getting into the flow of things and knowing their peers would give them some confidence to step up to the mic a little bit later. I've heard a lot of discussion during this IGF about how we can get the youth encouraged and involved in the participation of sessions, and I think that the first step to do is to give them a forum where they can find that first footing and the courage to get the first intervention at the microphone out there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sebastian. I'm going to have a couple of questions for you, but later, after we are done with this round.
And
so
he
can
also
we...
made his first intervention, at least like an intervention at the main session.
Oh, really?
Just now, yeah.
All right, well, congratulations. All right, can we move now to...
Hello, everyone. My name is Sabrina Abelhaiga. I come from France, and I represent Youth IGF in France. I participated in the organization of the Youth IGF forum in France with my colleague Ted here, he will present after. And it's my first IGF, So I had a lot of expectation, and now I'm also come here to deliver the youth message from France, and it's all. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ted, and I'm not going to repeat what Sabrina just said because I could say exactly the same thing. I'm totally agree with the idea of Sebastian. I think because me and Sabrina are kind of new in the internet governance ecosystem, it's kind of difficult to step up, and having more confidence with something like that would be a great thing, I think. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Raquel Mactus, and I'm here representing the Global Challenges Foundation with my colleague Victoria. Unfortunately, we couldn't make it before, so we just arrived yesterday. So I can't give you much feedback about the Newcomers Track. This is our first time at IGF. Yes.
Can I ask you something? Since, okay, you weren't part of the Newcomers Track, but it's your first IGF. So what do you think, what's the most challenging for you about participating at the IGF?
Well, we don't come from the internet community, so we're just here to learn, really, and so everything is a challenge. As someone was saying in the main session, reshaping internet governance, all the acronyms are quite challenging.
All right, thank you. Carlos?
Hello, everyone. My name is Carlos. I am Mexican, come from here, as well as I am a Hong Kongese citizen. And, well, this is, I think, very important, Internet Governance Forum, because well, I'm creator of a machine I could show you later on that plugs the mind to the cloud computing, cloud storage services. So, well, I'm here to see how is the internet future, how is the internet going to be, like all of those topics about fragmentation and privatization of the internet, and how is going to be the security of the information. I think those are very important topics. Thanks.
Thank you, Carlos. I'm going to wait for the colleagues to take their position, so maybe we can now move to the another side of the table, then we'll come back to you. I don't know the name, but I can say. Oh, no, the colleague that's at the beginning of the table.
Hi, I'm Anna Kampanek from the Center for International Private Enterprise in Washington, D.C.
I'm Jan Rydzak from the University of Arizona.
But wait, I have a question for you too. So what do you think about the Newcomers Track, and do you think the Newcomers Track is needed at the IGF for the first time coming participants?
Is that a question for me? Oh, for both of us. Well, I guess you want to start, or answer?
That's actually the first newcomers session, but I am particularly interested as a newcomer. You know, the conference obviously was fascinating and very rich, but I'm curious about what are the ways of staying connected or staying involved on specific issues where we're interested in, you know, between the events. So that's the main reason why I'm here.
I guess I have a similar line of argumentation. For me, this is the first time at IGF, and it's also my first day at IGF, and incidentally my last. For me, I think one of the things I'm interested in, since I kind of represent academia and civil society to an extent, I would be most interested in how to engage with other environments outside of academia. You know, because I'm used to an extremely academic approach to conferences, and I think the greatest value in IGF is really the combination of different stakeholders, yeah, so just kind of reaching across the borders is what I'm interested in. Thanks.
Hi, hello. Is that working? Yeah. My name is Sophie Tomlinson, and I work for the International Chamber of Commerce, which is a World Business Association with members in over 130 countries. It's cross-sectorial, all different sizes of business. And when we participate at the IGF, we're working through an initiative called Business Action to support the Information Society, which is an initiative of ICC. Bianca and Anya invited me to participate in the private sector Newcomers Track, which I think it was on Tuesday, and I'm just here to give some general feedback on that. It's my third IGF, so I'm not a newcomer, but I still sometimes do feel relatively new, as there are so many people who have done the IGF right from the start. And I thought that session was it was really great to have those kind of knowledge cafes. At ICC, we're always trying to bring different business participants together at IGF. So it was interesting for us to see who from business was participating, who wasn't one of our members, and just to see how we could collaborate. I think just going to the point that you said about, when you're not from the internet governance or kind of technology sector across all different stakeholder groups, I think it's really key at IGF that we really try to get people like you here. And when we're on, when there are panelists on main sessions and things like that, also just kind of keeping in mind that there are people in the room who aren't in the kind of close-knit internet governance circles, and just when they give their remarks, kind of putting things in context and in the big picture outside of the IGF, why these issues matter. And I just wanted to, I'm just wondering as well, it's just a general question, have you got any feedback from the newcomers, from remote participants? Because I imagine as well that may be also where we're seeing a lot of new participation. Thanks.
So for remote participants, we open for remote every day. There isn't too many people who join, but I think one thing we have used to communicate is the mailing list. So other than this forum where we can share our thoughts, we will send a survey a little later for the remote newcomers. So that's also an area that we want to address in the future.
Thank you, Sophie. Can we move now?
Hi, everyone. I'm Darcia, coming from the Republic of Congo. This one is my first global IGF, but it's not my first IGF because I've attended the African one. And I was also a fellow for the African School of the IGF. So that means that I was already familiar to some terms related to the IGF. But what I'm going to talk about is maybe the fact that I'm coming from a French country, a Francophone country. And it's not easy for us when we are coming here to, even in the African IGF, it's the same thing. You have translator maybe just in the main room. And in the other rooms, you don't have it. I have a background helping me to understand things according to freedom of expression, according to human rights. So when it's coming to technical discussions or meeting, I'm kind of being lost, because even if you are explaining something, because for example here we are all going to speak in English, the panelists, they are going to speak in English, and the time I'm going to understand what they are saying, because it's not in my background, it's not easy at all when you are a newcomer. And it's also the same thing. For example, now I'm going to say I'm the only one Congolese here. And when you are talking about the remote participation, trying to talk to your friends in the country, saying that I'm at Mexico, you can follow us on net, and they are just saying, yes, you're right, even now you can even see. I'm speaking, it's in English, even on the internet, it's just in English. So it's not easy even for people in our countries to follow us. So that's what I can say for the moment.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Maria Verdura. I come from Universidad Autónoma de Guadalajara. I'm Mexican, of course. And as for many of us, this is my first IGF, and it's been a great experience. From day zero, I've been here. And I have to admit that I had no clue what was this going to be about. So I was just like open to all experiences, and it's been really interesting. It changed totally my perception of the internet and of some organizations around the globe. So I can say that I am very grateful for this opportunity. Thank you to Anje and Bianca for organizing this group, because it makes you feel that you are part of something, you know, like part of the group inside of this big event. So my recommendation for next year would be like to give more diffusion or more publicity to this kind of events, because I know that many people from many different sectors will be very interested in come to these meetings, because you can learn a lot, you can meet a lot of people, and you can get in touch with important organizations around the world that may enrich each other. Okay, and thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Victoria, and as Raquel said, we work together at the Global Challenges Foundation. We focus more on global catastrophic risks such as climate change and so forth, but we're here to learn from the innovative internet community on how to approach the problem of forming multi-stakeholder frameworks and global governance in general, and how you tackle this.
Hello all, my name is Marie-Noémie Marquez, I'm from France. I work at Orange, the Orange company, the telco, and it's my first IGF, of course. My belief is that this proposal to continue is a very good idea. It's a very good idea to meet new people and to try to create this this feeling of what? Of being together and starting understanding how it works. And then I think really it's a very good idea. I've seen that you have put a direct link to the newcomers on the website. Then this is a way to let people be aware of that, on the fact of it's existing. And then it's a means also to communicate on it. And well, I rather feel at ease concerning the issues that are dealt with here in terms of public policies, because it is my job. Then that's okay for concerning this point. But what I'm trying to do is to understand IGF works, because my objective is to contribute as much as I can in future. Thank you very much.
So Michael is not a newcomer. He's a really well-known name, probably to all of you, even if you're a newcomer, because he's somehow very helpful to the IGF and involved in our processes. I invited Michael basically as our guest here to share his experience, and because he used to be a newcomer. How did you engage with the intersectional work of the IGF? Is this from me coming?
Sure. So thank you very much, Anya. My name is Michael Ugia. I'm an ISOC returning ambassador, so this is my second IGF, and it's kind of funny because I am highly involved now in the internet governance ecosystem, but I didn't really even know what internet governance was until about last August, let's say. I always joke with, like, now is, for instance, this is the second year that I've been involved with an initiative, the Best Practices Forum on IXPs, which is Internet Exchange Points, sorry for the acronym. I also didn't know what an IXP was, an Internet Exchange Point was at the beginning of last September. So one thing that I found when I first started getting involved was that the community was largely very welcoming, and they were quite happy to see, like, new blood, new energy being coming into the IGF, because it wasn't just me, it was many others. And with that said, I remember quite well, like, how because other people were looking out for me and trying to get me involved, I felt much more encouraged to do so as well. So something that Anya wanted me to talk about was the intersessional work. Now, what we have to understand is that the IGF is, at least the global IGF, and actually regional and national initiatives as well, it's not just one meeting where people come and we discuss things and then we go home. The fact is, first of all, everybody has a different perspective to bring to this. The internet is not just the technical functions, it's not just how it affects something like net neutrality, it affects everything. I mean, I was really happy to hear that you all work on, Raquel and Victoria, Raquel, yeah? You work on global issues. I've been going off lately, not going off, I've been talking a lot lately about climate change and how the internet and energy are very relevant to the climate change discourse. It's something that we don't necessarily talk about here, but we can. The point is, everybody has a unique perspective to bring to the table, whether it's a youth perspective, whether it's relevant to your local context. If you're from Congo, for instance, I don't know what's going on in Congo, so it's good that we share these stories with others. So know that you absolutely have something to contribute to this, and you probably have a lot more to contribute than you realize. So on that note, let me talk about the intersessional work. So, like I said, the IGF is not just one meeting. It's actually it's a process. You can think of the IGF as being like the culminating experience, the one in the sense that we meet once a year, and we actually are meeting in many ways to talk about some of the developments from the past year, but also in many ways to have that physical meeting to discuss the work that we've been doing. So what I mean by that is, I'm sure by now you're familiar with the best practice forums, and you're familiar with, for instance, the dynamic coalitions. So I don't want to talk down to anybody, that's what I mean. And the work that's done, it's meant to be building on addressing problems, rather, that are relevant to the community, and finding multi-stakeholder solutions that can then address these problems. So, for instance, I'm involved in 2 of the best practice forums. And by the way, something that please understand about my background. Like I said, I didn't know internet governance. I have a bachelor's and a master's in sociology. So, there's this piece called that somebody had written a long time ago who had a philosophy degree. He said, "The advantages of being useless." And it's basically that I was never really anything, but because of that, I was able to find my place in this community. So, for instance, I'm not technical in nature, but yet I do a lot of the proofreading because I used to work as an editor. I do a lot of the proofreading on the BPFs, Best Practice Forum outcome documents, and I also. What else do I do? I do a lot of consulting, and whatnot. But the point is, I found a way to contribute, and then by doing so, I actually end up learning. So it kind of builds on itself. So one thing I wrote about this recently. I actually wrote an article and published it in Diplo Foundation called "I'm Not a Technical Person, but I Don't Need to Be." In fact, when I was working, for instance, with the best practice forums, I kept getting such good feedback from the other members, many of them who are technical. And by the way, if I talk too fast, just let me know. I get excited. So the people that were technical in nature, I kept getting feedback from them saying, you know, we really appreciate that somebody that isn't familiar with the acronyms, somebody that's not familiar with Border Gateway Protocol and Internet Protocol version 6 can read the document, for instance, and understand what they're talking about. Because the fact is, it is our job, it is part of our job to make these issues ones that are digestible for the general public. And that's not done through jargon and technical speak and whatnot. It's done through language, it's done through engagement, it's done through interaction. So, I mean, so if there's a topic that interests you, get involved. That's the best advice that I can give you. And I will do my absolute best to make sure that you feel welcome and that you feel included. And if there's ever a kind of, and I'm sure that so many others in this community will do the same. And I hope that my experience can reflect yours, because the best thing, I mean, we get so excited when somebody that we don't know starts getting involved and they're just like, yeah, what can I do? Because, you know, especially for youth, I understand that not everybody here are youth, but especially youth, I always try to tell people, how can those of us that have a lot of time to use on meaningful things help those that want without that time? You know, I don't have a family. I don't have a lot of commitment. Most of my commitments are internet governance. So, meaning I have that flexibility, and many of you do as well, which means that we can really have something to offer those people that have families that have a lot of commitments already, and in turn, they can offer us mentorship, which is so important. Not just knowing a face at the next meeting, but knowing that you are committed to these processes, knowing that you're going to learn, and knowing that, you know, we're all investing in the same process. We're here to make the internet a better place, something better for humanity. And so that takes work, but it takes a lot of it does take time. But I mean, I can't believe that I know as much as I do now about internet governance, and it's just been about a year and a half. I mean, this is, like I said, my first internet governance forum was last November. You know, so I do encourage you to get involved, to stay involved. The intersessional work is open to anyone, and like I say, intersessional work includes the best practice forums, the dynamic coalitions, and also the policies, the policy options for connecting and enabling the next billions. We need your voices. I'm telling you right now, we need your help. We can't do it by ourselves. Many of us are already spread very thin as it is with our professional and personal, you know, commitments. So with that, I'll give it back to the chair. Sorry if I spoke too much. I just really care about this space, and I really hope that you can care about it as well if you don't already. Thank you.
And I think the beautiful thing is, you know, you might be a newcomer now, next year you're not. So, I mean, you could totally do the same thing, you know, that others have been reaching out to you, and I mean, that's something that you can carry on. So I just wanted to make that quick point.
So, first of all, thank you very much for your feedback. Me and Bianca, we were taking a lot of notes. Let me now briefly go through what Michael already mentioned, through the IGF intersessional work, and again, just repeat how you can engage, what would be the process for engaging with intersessional work for the next year's IGF. And after that, I'm gonna come up with one concrete proposal that came last night to my mind. So, Michael mentioned the best practice forums. On the day zero mentor session, we explained the logistics that stands behind the best practice forums, dynamic coalitions, the NRIs, the connecting and enabling the next billion projects. So let me now not go through the logistics of those intersessional activities, but let me now concretely say how you can engage. The dynamic coalitions, they are fixed, so they don't depend on the MAG, which means the MAG doesn't decide. They're not part of the intersessional program as such. There are 16 active dynamic coalitions on different subjects. So if any of you here is, for example, interested to discuss and to engage with experts on public access in libraries, child online safety, gender, then blockchain technologies, human rights, different kinds of human rights perspectives that are represented under 16 of dynamic coalitions. Everything that you need to do is contact the IGF Secretariat, and we will put you in touch with the organizers of each of the DCs. They are very concrete. Those are experts. Those are expert groups, expert teams that are gathering different organizations, different stakeholders, and working on kind of reviewing what is happening on certain topic and presenting it here at the IGF. The DCs had, I think, yesterday in the main session. I don't know whether you attended, but in any case, they were presenting their work. If you're interested to be engaged with any of the national or regional or youth IGFs that exist in your countries, there are 79 of them now. They are all listed on the website. Everything that you need to do is contact the IGF Secretariat again, and we'll put you in touch with the organizers of the NRIs. The NRIs itself are just a wonderful world on internet governance that exists in different countries and regions, and they are doing what we are doing here, just on a national or regional level. And they have their own intersessional activities. And to me, I've been working very closely for almost last 2 years with the NRIs. And what's kind of beautiful to see is that you don't see on the global IGF, is you really see the tangible output and the change, because it's kind of on a lower level, it's more specific. So in that sense, you can also engage with the NRIs. The best practice forums, they depend on a MAG. So the MAG every year, when it's organized, they decide on whether they will go with the best practices, and if so, with what kind of topics. This year, we had the continuation of the last year's best practice forums. So we had 4 best practice forums that I mentioned on the day 0, but there is a variety. Some of them are more kind of oriented on a technical side, some of them are more oriented on a human rights side. So basically there is a space for everyone and for all interests. So if you're interested in gender and abuse of women online, there is a best practice forum on it that are gathering a lot of contributions, and they are drafting the recommendations and the output document. All output documents are available on the IGF website. So to any of the best practice forums, please contact the IGF Secretariat. We will put you in contact with the coordinators for the best practice forums. They're all being led by the IGF Secretariat's consultants mostly, which are the experts on certain topics. There is one very interesting project, I think, which is, I think they had yesterday or today, the session, Connecting and Enabling the Next Billion. Last year, we started this project to deal with access, with connectivity from the perspective of the global IGF. We were reaching out to different stakeholder groups in different countries, in different regions, to see what are the problems with connectivity and with access. And then we were gathering the contributions, putting it in one document and presenting it last year in Brazil. Because it was so welcomed by the community, the work has been continued this year, but it was somehow continued through the NRIs, which we all, I think, liked, because we were consulting certain countries, certain regions, to see what are the issues with the unconnected, with the underconnected, with the access in general. And what we received, you can see it in the output document, are just so different things. It was, I think, the colleagues that were working on putting everything together in one document had a lot of challenges, because the issues are so different. How you can engage? The CNB has its own work teams as the best practices, so you can just contact the Secretariat and we can put you in contact with the organizers. For the next year, so we still don't know the composition of the MAG. As soon as the MAG is established, they will have their first meeting and they will decide on the annual program itself. So that's your first step, to just kind of keep yourself informed, follow the IGF website, see when the MAG is informed, see what are the outcomes of the first MAG meeting, and then make a step, contact the Secretariat. Now you know me, just send an email, and we will put you in contact with the organizing teams. For the DCs, you can do it like right now, because they are continuous. They work throughout the year, basically every year, and they just welcome new colleagues and new participants. This is something that I wanted to say. Bianca, do you have anything to say? So, because I know we're running a bit out of time, I don't want to leave the Newcomers Track without us maybe thinking something concretely. We received a lot of feedback. So what I'm thinking now, there's an agreement within the group that this should be continued. But obviously we need to improve it a bit. And I think what you now told us is just so valuable, and we can easily apply it in any case. So I'm thinking now, if you're interested to stay in touch with us through the Newcomers mailing list, maybe even to start a working group or something like that, to put our inputs and to try to improve this for the next year. So this is kind of my proposal that comes, and I would really like to hear your feedback on this, whether you would be interested. I think you would be so valuable to us because you now have the experience with the Newcomers Track. You've seen what worked well, what didn't work well, what should we improve, and how should we improve. And I think now you kind of have the advantage comparing to the colleagues that didn't attend the Newcomers Track from the very beginning. So can I just briefly hear your feedback on this so that I can bring input to my team? So Sebastian.
Yeah, I'm really on board with that idea. I'd be really happy to help contribute to developing the Newcomers Track, and I really do think it's an initiative that's important to all of us here, and it'd be really cool to see it grow.
Good evening. Buenas tardes. Para todas y para todos. I'll try to speak some English and Spanish because I agree with she from the Congo that it's very difficult to who don't manage the English, and we have a very good exposure like Michael, but he's so fast. No, more patient. I'm from Internauta Argentina. Pertenezco a una organización que se llama Internauta Argentina, es la Asociación Argentina de Usuarios de Internet. Nosotros participamos, somos una ALS, una estructura asociada de ICANN, que representa en el mundo de los usuarios. ICANN is a multi-stakeholder also, but ICANN only knows about names and numbers. This is my first time here in the IGF. Esta es mi primera vez que participo. La organización en la cual nosotros participamos, ICANN, es una organización que habla de nombres y números de dominio, sin los cuales no existiría Internet. Pero esta es, a mi criterio, la otra parte que nos faltaba. This is the other side that we don't meet yet with Internauta. 10 years ago, we have questions. Hace 10 años tenemos preguntas. We still have these questions. Tenemos las mismas preguntas. But now more people have this question, because 10 years ago, when the conference of Tunis, there weren't so many government involved, many corporations involved, and in this kind of meeting, en este tipo de encuentros, multi-stakeholder, tuvimos la oportunidad de estar sentados en una mesa como esta con el presidente de ICANN. We can be in the same workshop with the president of ICANN. I know him because of your name, but not face to face. Esto es importante para poder repetir. ¿Qué pensamos nosotros con esto de que ahora hay más gente que pregunta lo que preguntábamos antes en soledad? What do you think that today more people is taking the same asking that we had in lonely? That if we have the same questions, we can build the solutions. We agree really with the proposal, with the goal of the new connection from 1.5 billion, but we think that first, every human must have water, have work. We must join that goal, everyone connected. With that, they are no more hungry. They are not confrontation between us. No son incompatibles pensar en que además de conectar el próximo 1,5 billones, todos los humanos tienen que tener agua, no tiene que haber hambre. Because of that, we are here. Por eso estamos aquí. Estoy muy contento de conocerla personalmente, aunque la vi en un webinar. I'm really grateful to meet you in face-to-face. Anya, I see you in the webinar. I know some people of the IGF. Sala from Islas Fiji was working with us in the ICANN. Sala es una extraordinaria mujer de las Islas Fiji que trabaja muchísimo y participaba en ICANN y ahora está trabajando y participando en el IGF. Our experience with the gap between families, not only the digital gap, the family gap is a new gap. Some child in this school have your netbook, some programs. Muchos chicos tienen su computadora, su netbook en su escuela y muchos programas. En Uruguay, el Plan Seibo, en Argentina, Conectar Igualdad, en Venezuela, el Plan Canaima, hay muchos planes, pero que en las familias con menor capacidad adquisitiva, las más vulnerables, no tienen una gran brecha entre sus hijos y los padres. Entonces, trabajar sobre esa brecha también es la que pretendemos. We in Internauta work in this gap. We have, my country is so huge, like Mexico, and we have several districts, and we have any of us work in networking, and in each place we try to make something. Somos muchas provincias, en cada lugar tenemos un compañero internauta y tratamos de trabajar en red y que en cada lugar algo queremos hacer. For little that it is, talking in the school, talking with the family, like say Michael. This is our compromise, engagement with the IGF. We will continue working. We know how to work into the working groups. It's similar like ICANN, but here we are agreed that here we can work with another things more than names and numbers. Estamos muy contentos de trabajar o participar en el IGF porque además de trabajar con nombres y números de dominio es importante trabajar con personas. Muchas gracias. Thank you.
So thank you so much for your comment. So one thing I think was not well advertised is that there are these badges with it's slightly different than yours, and it has a native language. So some of them, so these are the mentor badges. Maybe next year we make it a different color, but basically I say like I speak Chinese because I do, but like there are others that speak Spanish or other like Swahili or other languages. So like that, I understand. Like for people who don't speak English as the first language, this would become difficult, and I think it's good for you to rely on mentors like this. But next year we'll do a better job of promoting. So thank you again for your comment.
Minutes ago, but oh, sorry. But I'm really glad that we have here Raquel and Victoria with us. So I'm going to play your video, and then you speak at the same time and explain us what is it about. Like, can I start now?
The shape of a system will always determine the outcomes it achieves. The shape of our global governance system was decided after the Second World War, when the world was very different. Is it the right shape to tackle climate change and extreme poverty and global conflict? These challenges are global, not national. The way the world works together will dictate. It's time to explore new operation to future-proof our world. New minds, new voices, new ways, a new shape. Take part in the New Shape Prize.
Hi again. Thank you so much, Anya, and sorry, Bianca. Yes. For allowing us to introduce the Global Challenges Foundation New Shape Prize. I will be super short. So first I will speak a bit about the Global Challenges Foundation. The Global Challenges Foundation's New Shape Prize is aimed at sparking fresh ideas on how to better handle global challenges, such as the ones we mentioned before, climate change, conflict, extreme poverty. I will try to speak more slowly. And the prize will award $5 million to ideas that remodel global governance for the 21st century. The foundation aims, or we aim, to deepen understanding of global catastrophic risks that are threatening humanity. And we believe that fresh thinking is needed to be able to address the scale and gravity of these risks, which have outstripped the international system's ability to deal with them. The prize will have an impact by stimulating a global debate about how the world manages the global risks that threaten humanity, and by producing ideas for more effective global governance that could be taken forward. Internet governance is an inspiring example of innovation in global governance, and we encourage you and people in your networks to take part in the prize competition. We're here as we would love to hear your insights on these issues. And if you want more information, you can visit our website, globalchallenges.org. We also brought some brochures that you're free to take. And if you have any questions about it, just let us know.
Thank you so much. So I will wrap up here. I really want to thank you so much. I finally enjoyed with you because I was so busy these 2 last days and I missed the private sector and, okay, I was at civil society. Missed the private sector, but I want really to thank you all. Carl is here. I want to thank Carl for supporting us during the private sector and technical community sessions. Sophie is here also. I really want to thank you so much for your support and for introducing us also to some of our key speakers. And once again, the biggest thank you goes to all of you. Michael, thank you so much for sharing your experience.
I just wanted to also encourage you. I don't know if you're necessarily familiar with the Internet Society ISOC Ambassadors Program. If you've really enjoyed your time here and you really want to contribute more, I highly recommend you apply next year. The applications open in I think July, and they're announced, and the ambassadors are announced in August. So it's a great way to be able to have sponsorship, to come back to the IGF, to participate, and to really get to know the ecosystem better as well. So I encourage you to apply.
Buenas tardes. Hello, my name is Harold Arcos from Venezuela, netizens, internauta Venezuela. Actually, I'm a LAC member from LAC RALO. This is a community, Latin America and Caribbean islands, within ICANN. I would like to invite all of us to work together, try to take this opportunity that I am inside ICANN with improve our effort for 2017 IGF. It's all. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Again, we will send out a survey later to collect a bit more information, and we really appreciate that you're here today. And for those who haven't had lunch, go ahead, because the lunch booths are closing soon, but thank you again for coming.